walks around with an engagement ring in his pocket? Who goes to a wedding with an engagement ring in his pocket?
It wasn't a secret Shen may not turn up. Maybe Matthew had it in case he really didn't show.
Shut up!
I just didn't want to see Yoke standing there alone. None of you did, right?
Matthew did salvage the situation.
How can you be on his side?
Well, we can argue about this all day. All I'm saying is a disaster was averted.
But what next? He could hurt Yoke even more.
I would never hurt Yoke.
You did it once. You hurt my family before. Trust me, I will not let it happen again.
This program is available on demand for free on MeWatch. Brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric StarMax Air Conditioner. Next week on Kin.
James knows that I'm cheating on him.
Did he do something to you? You say you can help me.
Maybe, maybe not.
What do you want?
I want Yoke to take over KSUH.
I just want what is right. Maxine is my daughter.
So what will it be, Ahok? Are you in or out?
Kin, weeknights on 5. More episodes of Kin are available on demand for free on MeWatch. Brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric StarMax Air Conditioner.
Tonight on 5. BYD produces masks, sanitizers, and infrared thermometers with stringent standards. HDT is the authorized distributor for BYD Care product. Visit our website to purchase with free delivery. Time. Brought to you by BYD Care. 9 p.m.
Hello there, good evening. I'm Otelli Edwards, and here are your top stories on News 5. 150,000 workers have taken a big pay cut since March, and the Manpower Minister warns the situation could get worse. New safety measures for shops and F&B outlets as they get ready for big crowds when the circuit breaker lifts. Another potential US-China flashpoint, Donald Trump to lay out plans for retaliation over Beijing's decision to impose national security laws on Hong Kong.
If you feel uncomfortable, you just raise your hand, okay?
A day in the life of a swab will take you behind the scenes at a COVID-19 testing lab. 150,000 workers, or just over 4% of the workforce, have had their salaries cut by more than 25% since mid-March. Manpower Minister Josephine Teo says the pay cuts were made by more than 4,000 companies who had to alert the ministry. And the situation could get worse. Mrs. Teo says retrenchments could spike after the circuit breaker as its economic effects are more clearly seen.
The mismatch is in terms of timing, meaning that the job seekers are eager to get into a job, but employers are not ready to hire because of the low visibility. That is the big mismatch that will happen during this time, very abnormal times. The second, and this is what occupies a lot of our mind and our attention, is the mismatch in the scale. You are going to have many, many more job seekers than jobs available, because this is an unprecedented. You've never seen a pandemic hit us like that.
Mrs. Teo says in March there were 71 jobs for every 100 job seekers. The ratio was 84 to 100 at the end of last year. The government says it's created immediate job vacancies in COVID-19 related roles like swabbers and safe management officers. It's also accelerated planned hiring. Another approach, Mrs. Teo says, is to ramp up traineeships, which are expected to prime people with experience and get them ready for the job market when it recovers. 25,000 positions are expected to be created this year. Companies are also being encouraged to woo not just fresh grads, but mid-career professionals as well.
The challenge is, of course, the work has to be meaningful. Otherwise, the job seekers, especially if they are mid-careers, they'll say, I'm not interested. I'd rather do something else with my time. And the job seekers will need to be paid a reasonable amount. Maybe not the same as the kind of salaries that they used to get, but it has to be reasonable. Then the companies will have to see themselves getting some value out of it.
Employers have been told to keep working from home as a default for staff even after Singapore begins to lift its circuit breaker measures from June 2nd. The Manpower Ministry says it will be conducting checks, and businesses may have to shut if employees are found not working from home when it's possible for them to do so, or if they are found not adhering to safe management measures. The advisory gave extensive guidelines for such measures. These include limited socializing among employees in the first 2 phases of the economy's reopening. Those who are unwell with COVID-like symptoms must also provide employers with a record of the diagnosis and also the results of any tests for COVID-19.
If there are risks at the work environment that the employee sees, then I think employers should look at it and address it and not be too quick to dismiss it. Sometimes the employees, because of the nature of their work, they see things that bosses may not have an opportunity to see. So I think that in such a situation, we'd really like to appeal to the employers to keep their listening ears open, hear what the employees have to say, and help them to overcome their valid concerns.
Singapore has reported 611 new COVID-19 infections. The total number of cases now stands at around 33,800. The Health Ministry says the majority of the new cases are migrant workers staying in dormitories. 3 are Singaporeans or permanent residents. Well, some shops in Singapore are already almost fully booked ahead of the circuit breaker ending on Tuesday. A dental clinic says its appointments are filled for June with a backlog of patients getting their teeth fixed. And a hair salon says it won't have a chair free for 2 weeks. More than 100 customers are in the queue.
We have to settle the patients that was been delayed from April and May. So we are pushing them now into the June period and maybe even into July. And also those who have already been delayed for a while, for the ongoing treatment, we're putting them as priority.
This clinic is almost fully booked for next month as circuit breaker measures ease. Dental clinics are given the green light to perform more services such as root canal treatments, fixing dental crowns and fitting retainers. To deal with the rise in customers, DP Dental is stepping up efforts to disinfect its clinics and preparing its staff on additional precautionary measures. The clinic will also spread out appointments at interval times of up to 45 minutes between patients to clean up after every customer. But this still cuts the number of customers they can usually serve per day by half. In order to work around the situation, the clinic has introduced online consultations prior to the actual visit. This is also a similar strategy taken by this hair salon as it receives appointments for full services like hair treatments and coloring post-circuit breaker. The salon conducts virtual appointments with clients before the actual pampering at the salon. This helps to prevent crowding.
These measures help clients to use lesser time in the salon. So like virtual consultation, what we'll do is that we'll send a picture over, hey, do you want to have this color done? Do you want to have this perm looks? Do you want to have this length of haircut?
To meet the expected increase in customers coming to such shops, some malls are stepping up from their regular safety precautions. Mall operator CapitaLand will be spraying a disinfectant coating over high contact areas in its malls, including lift buttons and handrails, which will guard against bacteria and virus for up to 6 months. It's also deploying self-driving UV disinfection robots to disinfect high shopper traffic floors daily. Chiropractors and traditional Chinese massage therapy, which require a lot of close contact with patients, are among the services restarting next week. And clinics aren't taking chances when it comes to safety.
Online sessions like this may be one's best bet for back pain during the circuit breaker. But in a couple of days, chiropractors like Miss Jenny Lee can open shop. And already bookings are back to pre-COVID-19 levels.
So what we see is the 1st of June, we definitely see some 75% of appointment has been filled up, which is very good. Consider 40% of being new patients, which is almost the same amount of new patients we had during a busy period for us, which is March, September, sometime August.
I received about 200 calls during this period, and I think it's common across the whole industry. People are not used to working from home because of the lack of ergonomic furniture in their house, and most of them are modifying their workplace. They'll be working from the dining room, the sofa, even the bedroom.
Visits will be strictly by appointments only. Association guidelines say therapists must also limit entry to only 1 to 2 at any one time, with the usual safe management measures like temperature taking. While some are creating waiting areas to contain those who arrive early, others are not taking any chances, keeping treatments short to around 20 to 30 minutes. Meantime, other forms of pain relief like traditional Chinese cupping and massage will also begin, as will acupuncture to treat other conditions like stroke recovery. All that has to be done more quickly according to latest Health Ministry rules.
Previously, the TCM physician has the flexibility of combining a few treatments together, such as combining cupping and acupuncture. Now, with the time frame of the 45 minutes, physician can only go with one most essential treatment. Example, acupuncture or cupping or Tuina to achieve the best results for the patient.
Yu Yan-sang is considering dressing staff in additional gear like full disposable gowns to do close contact treatments like traditional massages. So in the meantime, it's been preparing staff with video training demonstrations. Another operator, Ma Guang, says it's getting ready with face shields and other protective gear like gloves.
Still ahead on News 5, how businesses are gearing up in hopes of an early reopening. And thousands of BTO flats to be launched in August.
My Mitsubishi Electric StarMax aircon saves me energy and money. It's easy to clean and is so quiet.
Painful, inflamed sore throat? Reach for Difflam lozenges. They relieve the pain and swelling and help fight throat infection. Don't let a sore throat spoil your day. Reach for Difflam anti-inflammatory antibacterial lozenges.
Lifebuoy 特告：为防止有害病菌散播，谨记用肥皂勤洗手。若身旁没洗手液，沐浴露也能有效抗菌。让大家一起为新加坡防止病菌散播吧。
Singapore, thank you for nominating the heroic people quietly spreading kindness in their own way. Now it's time for you to cast your vote. Visit sginvisibleheroes.com and choose whom you think deserves to receive a special gift pack. Let's celebrate our heroes doing their part to keep Singapore going. Vote for your favorite invisible hero now.
Hello there, welcome back to News 5. Tensions between the United States and China appear to be approaching yet another potential flashpoint. Donald Trump is preparing to announce plans for retaliation if China imposes a national security law in Hong Kong. Beijing has warned the U.S. it has its own plans if Washington takes any action against it.
We are not happy with China. We are not happy with what's happened. All over the world, people are suffering. 186 countries. All over the world, they're suffering. We're not happy.
Laying the groundwork to take action against China is Tai Sa over Beijing's move to impose tough national security laws on Hong Kong. US media say one of the measures being considered targets the thousands of Chinese graduate students at American universities. They could have their visas annulled. The pro-Beijing government in Hong Kong has warned the US against meddling. It says removing the city's special status could backfire on the US economy, but the matter continues to draw international concern. The UK, US, Australia and Canada have jointly said the new law by China would directly conflict with its obligations under the Hanover Agreement. If it goes ahead, Britain says it would give greater visa rights to overseas British national passport holders, a status offered to many locals in Hong Kong at the time of the 1997 handover.
We will change that status and we will remove that 6-month limit and allow those B&O passport holders to come to the UK and to apply to work and study for extendable periods of 12 months, and that would itself provide a pathway to future citizenship.
China maintains that the new law is in the interest of protecting peace and long-term stability in Hong Kong.
Malaysia's former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad insists he is still the chairman of the ruling Bersatu Party. He rejects his expulsion, calling the move invalid. He has sent a legal notice to Bersatu to challenge his termination from the party. The party said it was because Dr. Mahathir sat with the opposition when Parliament met on 18th of May. His son Mukris and 3 others were also sacked for the same reason. Dr. Mahathir says there is nothing in the party constitution that prohibits them from sitting wherever they pleased. He has fired the Bersatu executive secretary who sent him the letter of termination. Singapore is giving strong consideration to Malaysia's request to extend the suspension of the Kuala Lumpur-Singapore high-speed rail project. Both sides had agreed in 2018 to resume work by this Sunday.
We remain committed and enthusiastic and positive about the prospects of this project for both our countries and both our peoples. Of course, the project is suspended at the moment because Malaysia is contemplating making some changes. And in fact, a few days ago, they asked us for possibility of extending the suspension so that we can continue the discussion on what changes they have in mind.
Mr. Kaur gave the update during a video conference with engineering students and graduates. He says the HSR project is one of many rail projects planned over the next decade to expand and keep Singapore's train network running smoothly. To that end, Mr. Kaur says by 2030, more than 2,000 additional rail engineers and technicians will be needed. He added that post-COVID, there will be extensive reconstruction both at home and regionally. Mr. Kaur says students and graduates should not worry too much as COVID-19 will not dampen their career prospects. Well, Japan is moving to speed up the phased reopening of its economy in Tokyo. From Monday, restriction will be eased further. Crammed schools, gyms, theaters, and more retail shops will be allowed to reopen. And that's despite an increase in new infections in Tokyo since the state of emergency was lifted on Monday. 22 cases were reported today. It's the first time the daily count exceeded 20 in about 2 weeks. Tokyo's governor says the plan to further relax curbs has been approved by an advisory panel. But the city must take the necessary precautions to prevent further spread of the virus. Well, Thailand will also be further relaxing its COVID-19 restrictions from Monday. Sporting facilities like gyms, bowling alleys and skating rinks will reopen. So will massage parlors, cinemas and zoos. But they must adhere to public health guidelines such as safe distancing and regular disinfection. The night curfew will also be shortened by 1 more hour. Some eateries here in Singapore are getting ready for a possible earlier start to phase 2 of restarting the economy. Even though dining in won't be allowed under phase 1, some places are already adjusting seating layouts to comply with the rule of 5 per table. But not all are expecting business to return to normal quite so soon.
Swee Choon Dim Sum restaurant is replacing the larger tables that seat 10 or more with smaller ones that accommodate just 5. While this could help optimize space, the restaurant will still see its seating capacity halved from the original 400.
So this will definitely affect business as well. But hopefully that will be taken care of, with deliveries. We also have designated safety officers in place, temperature taking even, and all those will definitely be in place to make sure that our public safety is being taken care of.
Outdoor seating is an option considered by Bakery Cafe Pentler, which only has an indoor sitting capacity for 20. But the shop is not expecting business to go back to pre-COVID days when Singapore enters its second phase of reopening.
There won't be a significant change because I believe that the uptake will still be very slow in the beginning because many people are still working from home. Many offices are not operating fully.
The dampened sentiment is shared by some retailers too, but to them, the reopening is better than none.
I believe that we would not see the kind of footfall or revenue that we were experiencing before the coronavirus came about. But still, we have rentals to pay, staff to take care of. So I think to open is better than not to. Slowly ease into what it used to be. I think it will take many, many months.
The leather goods retailer says it will continue with work segregation and let its older staff work from home.
HDB will offer 7,800 BTO flats for sale in August. The sale includes flats originally scheduled for launch this month that had to be postponed because of the circuit breaker. Now, as part of the August exercise, BTO flats will be offered in estates like Ang Mo Kio, Bishan, Choa Chu Kang, Tampines and Tengah. About 5,700 flats in Bishan, Sembawang, Tampines, Tengah and Toa Payoh will also be offered in November. HDB says completion of some BTO projects are expected to be delayed by up to 6 months. That's because of COVID-19 prevention measures, including suspension of construction, as well as strict safe management measures at work sites. HDB will also resume in-person appointments from Tuesday as the circuit breaker begins to lift. But it will be strictly by appointment. Officers will call customers directly to schedule times as HDB's e-appointment system remains suspended. Up next on News 5.
If you feel uncomfortable, you just raise your hand, okay?
All you need to know about coronavirus testing from start to end. That exclusive coming up next.
Weather report brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric.
Again?
This is Val. Val lives in Jurong. Here's the thing about Val. She's your ex. Pro tip, don't stay near your ex. Find your new home with 99.co's advanced search options. Search using multiple MRTs, travel time, and by district. With over 150,000 real listings, finding a place to live is fast and easy. And it's on both mobile and web. The best part? You'll never have to see your ex again. 99.co, the smarter way to search for property.
Lifebuoy 特告：为防止有害病菌散播，谨记用肥皂勤洗手。若身旁没洗手液，沐浴露也能有效抗菌。让大家一起为新加坡防止病菌散播吧。
The government will allow the safe reopening of preschools and schools from the 2nd of June. Preschools will gradually open so young children can be cared for safely. Student care centres will also fully reopen. Primary and secondary students from graduating cohorts will attend school daily, while other students will rotate weekly between home-based learning and school. Not more than half of junior college and Millennia Institute students should be in school at any one time. Students from institutes of higher learning must attend lectures online and only return to campus for practical and lab-based sessions. All staff and students must wear masks or face shields when in school or on campus. Co-curricular activities and enrichment activities will not resume.
Safe management measures must be observed at schools. These include daily temperature taking and avoiding mingling across classes. We should continue with other good practices to keep Singapore COVID safe. Stay home as much as possible. When you're out, wear a mask. Practice good personal hygiene and safe distancing. Download the Trace Together app and use Safe Entry wherever it is deployed. When on public transport, avoid talking to one another or on mobile phones. Help us keep you safe. When the situation remains under control, we can gradually resume more activities. Check official sources for information and do not spread rumors. Get the latest on COVID-19 on the gov.sg WhatsApp service. The service is available in English, Chinese, Malay and Tamil.
Hello there, welcome back. Singapore's new discharge criteria for COVID-19 patients is welcome news, especially for those whose tests keep coming back positive, even though they have been deemed clinically well and no longer infectious. A recovered patient who was in hospital for about 2 months shares her experience in this CNA exclusive. 26-year-old Isabella Lim was discharged a week ago after finally testing negative for the virus twice on consecutive days. That was before the Health Ministry said yesterday that clinically well patients could now go home by day 21 of onset of illness. Altogether, Isabella spent 58 days at Gleneagles Hospital and 3 days at a National Centre for Infectious Diseases. During that time, she video called family and friends, exercised, painted and continued to work. But even then, she often felt trapped. A week before her discharge, she heard that 18 COVID-19 patients at D Resort had been discharged despite still testing positive.
While I was in the hospital, I felt clinically very, very well. So I didn't know how long I would have to stay because I just kept testing positive with each test, and it could have been 60, 80 or even 100 days, So when I heard that they were actually discharging positive patients, I was really quite happy that the doctors at NCID were actually researching into it and tried to prove that we are not contagious anymore. I actually connected with some positive patients as well. We made friends, and when I discharged, I actually had 2 of them still left in the hospital, and they were all from my batch. So when I saw the news yesterday, I thought of them and I texted them immediately.
One of Singapore's 13 public and private labs approved to run COVID-19 tests says it will conduct up to 5 times more tests over the next few weeks. The government aims to increase capacity to 40,000 a day. In this CNA exclusive, we find out what goes on behind the scenes at Parkway Laboratories as Singapore restarts.
Before I do the test, I make sure that the UTM, or the so-called Universal Transport Medium, is not expired and it's not torn and there's no discoloration. So now, sir, I'm going to perform the procedure. Can you put down your mask and blow your nose? If you feel uncomfortable, you just raise your hand, okay? Tilt your head. Okay, I'm going to insert this inside the UTM. There's a tip over here. So what I'm doing here is I break the tip of the swab stick and cover it tightly. Then I'm going to double bag this using biohazard bag before I send to the lab. So each bag, I need to wipe it with the microseed. Then we roll it this way, then seal. Take the second biohazard bag, put inside, wipe it again, roll, seal it. Then using the correct sticker, I'm going to seal this biohazard bag with this sticker outside. Then I make sure that the red cap is standing. Then place it on the canister provided. Again, wipe it with microseed. Place this inside the biohazard box. I wipe it again. Now this box is going to send to the lab.
Once the primary sample has been labeled with the laboratory-generated accession number, we will transfer 800 microliter of the sample into a secondary tube. This is also an area of great discipline where we need to practice good laboratory practices and good pipetting techniques in order to prevent cross-contamination of samples. After we complete pipetting the samples into the secondary container, we are placing the samples into the sealed container and bringing it outside to the COBA 6800 for testing. I'm now going to load the samples into the machine. We are running the COVID-19 test using Roche COBA 6800. The test can take up to 94 samples in one batch, and each batch takes approximately 3.5 hours.
COVID-19 PCR test, it's a bit unique in the sense that it depends on the swabbing for the samples itself. So accurate swabbing, which is proper technique in terms of how the swab is taken, is crucial for the accuracy of the results. Secondly, it's also determined by the time taken before the swab reaches the lab, because obviously there's degradation of the swab, especially in the current heat. Third, we need to consider when the patient's disease or infection started. Having the swab taken too early or too late would also give a false negative result as a consequence of that.
Finally, a 15-minute video showcasing stories of people who played a role in combating COVID-19 will be played out on MediaCorp TV channels, Me Watch, and social media platforms on Monday at 7:30 p.m. Stronger as One aims to rally Singaporeans as the country transits to the first phase of post-circuit breaker period. Some of the stories include a migrant worker who's a COVID-19 survivor, as well as a police officer who is one of 4 frontliners in her family fighting against the pandemic. To cap it off, local pop star Joanna Dong and the Singapore Symphony Choruses will sing along to the song We Will Get There. And that's News 5. Thanks for watching. Good night.
This program is available on demand for free on Me Watch.
Tonight on 5.